I'm going to Disney World.
And I'm going to Disneyland.
Why are you guys going to Disney without me?
You can come.
When?
We're going separately.
Well,
I'm going to World. He's going to Land.
Yeah, I'm going in like 3 weeks.
It's like Super Mario Land and Super Mario World.
Yeah, very much like that.
I'm going in April.
Oh, I'm going to be on a cruise in April.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
Everybody wins.
We're going to have like a whole month where we don't podcast because we're all gone a separate week right after each other.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Pretty much.
So we'll record 4 podcasts in advance.
You're out of your effing mind. So, yay. So.
Or is that the season
My
break?
show notes keep getting screwed up.
Well, this is why you should commit them to memory.
Yeah, I guess,
Sir.
right? That's all right. I got it.
I got them. Episode 10.
10. That's like a big number.
Is it 10?
It's
Yeah, 10.
It's an anniversary.
It's a very, very short anniversary.
It's a decade of episodes.
If only.
A decade of
If I'd have been
episodes.
doing this thing for 10 years at this point, I don't know if I would.
I would hope
I don't
we'd
know
be.
where I'm going with
I
that.
would
I
hope
don't
we'd be
think
better
anything-
at it, and we'd have more people listening. That's my dream.
Right? We got all those followers in 10 years. Yeah.
So I tell every time we get like a new Twitter follower or a new YouTube subscriber, I like tell my wife, either I text her, like we high five if we're in person, and I hope that at some time it's like, hey, we just got another 100, not like,
right.
hey, we went from 160 to 161, high five.
But will you be as excited about the 161,000th and one
Yes,
as you are the
probably.
and 2?
Probably.
Okay.
It's all right.
We're going to do a lot of high fives.
Yeah, lots of high fives. Anyway,
High five your face.
I think we're going to talk about what we've been playing.
Are we?
Let's.
We're just gonna. Oh, we're gonna talk about it last.
No, let's do it now.
Oh,
He said
Go.
let's. Like let
Oh,
us.
let's-
Not let's. Let's.
I just started playing Last of Us Remastered.
Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right.
Because I remember playing it a little bit on the the streaming, the PlayStation
Now
3,
stuff.
PlayStation Now, and it was really pretty there. But it was just demoing the service, so I didn't really get into it all that much. But this is great.
Are you any good at it?
Yeah,
'Cause
I think I'm all right.
I'm awful at it.
Well, I didn't realize just how much of a stealth game it is.
Right.
And I've never really played many. Like I never did the
Yeah.
Metal Gear. What is it? Metal Gear Solid,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Or Splinter Cell.
Yeah, I've never really
Dishonored.
tried them.
Yeah.
But this, I didn't realize just how stealth involved this was.
Yeah.
And I'm finding out I'm not terrible.
See, and I'm awful. Like I love the game, and I adore the story, and I love the interaction between all the people. And then every time we get to one of those places, we're like, okay, there's 5 scary guys ahead. You've got to kill all of them. And I'm like, all right, well that just means I'm going to try this like 8 times to get past it.
Right.
I don't think I'm a bad gamer, but man, stealth is not my thing. It was the same when
I picked up what's the girl's name?
Ellie.
Is that her? Was that his daughter?
No.
Okay, so Ellie, sure, let's call her
Yeah.
Ellie is her name. The immune chick.
Yeah.
Or we think she's immune. We don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
Doom, doom.
And I had to get through that first bit with the patrols.
Yep.
Where the flashlights and everything.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to die a lot. And
Yep.
I did. I died a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I had to finish that scenario with the sniper guy still up
Yep.
on the roof because I couldn't get rid of him.
There was a sniper guy that I just like started running.
Yeah,
Like-
that's what I did. I took off, and I'm like, I just use a med pack, so
Yep.
let's hope I'm not gonna, die. And I almost died right before I jumped into the little
Yep.
ditch.
Yep. Yeah. No, that was very, very similar to my experience. I need to get back to that. I've just been busy playing other stuff because it's super fun and it's just stunningly beautiful.
Well,
It's
and
not super long either. I just need to finish it.
I want to get the 7.1 surround sound headset thing because I'm
would
just
probably be
playing them with
helpful.
little earbuds because Kevin's playing his WoW and he's yelling at his people. He was I don't know what they were doing to their raid last night or the night before, but he was yelling at these people.
It's my wife often asks me when I'm playing Rocket League, 'cause I play it for a couple hours on Saturday and Sunday, and every weekend. And she's like, "Are you having fun?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's great fun." She's like, "Are you sure?" Because like I don't usually swear that much and talk that badly about other people when I'm having fun. I'm like, well, it's a special kind of fun.
Right.
It is.
Yeah. Although this week I actually got a buddy of mine, Rich, came and played with us on all day Sunday, so that was fun to actually have like a single person that wasn't just some rando over and over again. He's a rookie, but he was solid enough to be better than a lot of the stupid people.
And this
we
is
play
on
with.
Rocket League?
Yeah.
Okay, because
So
you're always playing Rocket League.
Always playing Rocket League.
Other than Rocket League, what are you playing?
I finished Rise and Shine.
I saw I saw the litany of posts about Rise and Shine.
Yeah, that game was. I know I talked a little bit about it last week. So I think last week I was 10 levels in out of. I would say 14, but the 14th level really there's not much to it. So it's really out of 13, and so I only had 3 left to beat. And that game, I would even almost say for the first 10 levels was really solid. And it's like the good parts about the game is it's gorgeous. It's so pretty. And it's got kind of a fun story. It's pretty just like you, Adam. It's not like you. Sorry, man.
Rude.
I mean, it's gorgeous. Just these beautiful hand-drawn, cartoony visuals. It's got a decent story. Like the story's a little bit goofy and it kind of Deus Ex, at the end, but it's not bad. And I love the immersion of all the different video game Wreck-It Ralph style in this world you're going through. But first of all, it's just too hard. It's too damn hard.
Difficulty setting on there?
I don't think so. Okay. But the real problem is that it's not that it's too hard. It's that most of the levels are like playing a game like Inside, where, hey, I died. That's cool. Oh, hey, I'll try that again. Oh, I died. That's cool. And then the third time, I'm like, oh, I made it through. So, most of the levels you're walking through.
But this one is it changes a little bit.
No, that was Feist. But,
okay.
This was, and what changed them this is every single bad guy. So you'll play through these levels and they're pretty easy. And then you'll get to these boss characters. And the boss characters are insane. They are so hard. And so the first one he hits on level 4, and he took me probably 25 minutes to beat, which is probably 12, 13, 14, 15 attempts. Each one of these attempts is 2 or 3 minutes, and you're just dying. And it's very much those, a very standard, like, I don't know, it's Super Nintendo kind of thing where they've got, a health bar. No, and that's actually the thing that is weird about them is they've got a health bar and then they have like a life, and so you'll take their health bar all the way and they'll lose a life, and they'll take the health bar all the way, they'll lose a life. They'll take the health bar all the way and they'll lose a life. They have attacks, but they're not, it's not like, hey, I'm going to go pew, 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 and then bounce. Yeah, it's, I have 5 attacks and I'm going to use them completely randomly.
Do they have a tell
No.
to give you an idea of what kind of attack is coming up?
To some degree, yes. And it kind of depends on which one they are, but I mean, sometimes it's that there's so much stuff on the screen, and then the way a lot of them work too is you'd kill them the first time, and so maybe the first time they would have, like this one guy I was fighting, his arms came off, and they would jet over and hit you and hit you.
Tool to have in a fight.
Right? Yeah, and they'd jet over and hit you.
Rocket hands.
Exactly. And then, so once you'd taken 1 life out, though, instead of hitting, they'd do it 4 times. Or instead of shooting 3 rockets at you, they'd shoot 4 or then shoot 5. So as you damage them, they actually get harder.
Which is typical of any boss fight.
Yeah, but it got to the point where, I mean, it was so hard that the 13th level is essentially like, I don't want to say it's not a boss fight, but it's just a deluge of these, these bad guys, and then the final end boss. And the first section took me 45 minutes, and the second section took me 45 minutes. So an hour and a half of just dying every 2 minutes to get through this level. It was, but the level before that was called, what was it called? NPC Island. And it was this dorky like thing full of silly mini games. So the level before this level,
cutesy, fun, easy.
Yeah, I'm playing, with my gun that shoots, like explosion things. I'm using that to play basketball, and I'm using my guided bullet to avoid all these little things. And so it was literally like any dorky mini game you'd play in, any game ever, and then followed by this insanely hard. So it wasn't that the game was too hard, it was that the spikes in difficulty were too big. Right. It would go from a 2 to a 10, right, and then back down to a 2 for 2 levels, and then back to a 10, and then back, and it was just exasperated by how bad the controls were. Right. So it was a game, my ultimate review on it was buy it, but buy it when it's on sale, because
right,
it's pretty and it's fun. It's just, or if you're one of those people that love super hard Dark Souls or Super Meat Boy, or
Super Meat Boy is just an exercise in frustration,
right?
But even that one it gives you like a pattern, an idea,
exactly,
a way to get through. And of course, we're going to talk more about this later, because that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. Like, how hard is too hard?
Hard, yeah.
What is a good difficulty
Rise and
setting?
Shine
How hard should it get?
Rise and Shine was just too hard. It made it. I think the problem was I got to level 13. I got all the way through this game, and I'm like, I enjoyed this game. I really liked it, and if level 13 hadn't been so bad, I probably would have given a higher rating. But after playing that game, that same level and just dying and dying and dying, I'm like, I'm done. I don't even want to play this game anymore. It took all the fun out of it. So I played a new game called Toby. And that's what I'm saying. My show notes died.
Well, here, let me find that.
Toby the Secret Mine. No, I got it up. It lost my changes. So Toby the Secret Mine is, I just started it last night, actually. And it's inspired by, air quotes, in Limbo. And it's very, very Limbo looking. Except a lot. I know this is like the third Limbo game I've played after playing Limbo in the last little bit. Story on this is your entire village that you live in has been kidnapped, and it's up to you to go rescue them in very Limbo-like ways where you're, solving little puzzles. And it's, again, one of those games that's a silhouette foreground with very colorful, pretty backgrounds. It probably fits somewhere in between Limbo and Feist.
Okay.
Where, well, I don't even know if I'd say that. It's probably more Limbo-like than anything, with the exception of I always thought the puzzles in Limbo and Inside always felt like I got there and maybe I don't know what to do the first time. And maybe I don't even know exactly what to do the second time, but I always know that the thing I need to do is there. I just haven't figured out the right way to use the combination of things it gave me to get it. Mm-hmm. Whereas so far in Toby, a lot of the times it's like, I don't know what I'm doing and I'll die. And I don't know what I'm doing, then I die. And then I notice that like there's this little hidden place that I need to jump up into, get somewhere. And so it's their loop is kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing, I die. I don't know what I'm doing, I die. I don't know what I'm doing. So I must be missing something because this puzzle's so abstract that I'm not going to be able to figure it out, because it's not a good puzzle. It's a hidden puzzle, or it's a weird, the puzzles are just, they're far more obtuse than the puzzles in Limbo were, which were always solvable. These ones are always solvable, but it's not necessarily because you're smart.
Yeah.
It's because there's something hidden. I mean, for example, I guess, there's one where you kind of walk down this thing, hop off this platform, and there's a bunch of like pallets floating in water. And so you notice that there's kind of tirey gear thing, and you push one into the water, and that raises the water level and pushes the pallets up higher, closer to this button you need to push. And so then you realize, oh, hey, there's another one of those gear things hanging from a rope. So you knock it down, push it over, and then now it's really, really close to getting up to pushing the pallets to push the button. But now I'm out of things to put in the water. Like, I know what I need to do. I need to put something else in the water to push this button. I'm like, well, maybe I can jump in the water. No, that just kills me.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, just jump in the water.
Right?
Okay.
And so I'm looking around. There's literally nothing left to put in the water. And so finally I walked back to the platform I jumped off of, and underneath that there's like a hidden space where once you walk into it, it reveals itself, and there's another tire cog inside of there. So it wasn't that it was impossible to solve. It was just that it wasn't like I had to be smart to solve it. It was that I had to get to the point where, like, well, there's literally nothing else. So now I have to start looking for the hidden parts of it. And it's not bad. I've enjoyed the fact that it's not like Limbo or Feist where everything wants to kill you. There's like some legit, like really cute critters that wander around. Like the first time I see this little kind of like porcupine hedgehog thing, I'm like, oh great, that thing's gonna murder me.
But no, it's just
it just scurries underground. I'm like, oh, that's so pleasant to not have that thing be some vicious thing that's gonna eat my face or throw spikes at me.
Like the dogs in Inside, man. Right? The dogs in Inside scared the crap out of me.
And the first time you're like, oh, dogs, and then they come around, break your neck.
Like, oh,
yeah. And so it was kind of nice, and it's really pretty, with the exception that it has like more lens flare than like both the Star Trek, both the Star Trek movies put together. It's like literally I posted 3 videos up on our YouTube page, and literally there's lens flare nearly constantly in this game. So, but it was done by a guy, so something to be said. But it just barely. It's been on PC for a year or two, and it got released on Xbox 2 or 3 days ago.
So what is Super Secret Beta Game? Is that the actual name of the game?
No, it's not. It's a game that I played the beta of, and I'm super excited about it, but I can't talk about it yet.
Are you serious?
So, yep, NDA. Sorry.
Oh, man.
So, but I did talk to the developer last night, and when it comes out of beta, we'll re-review it and we'll talk about it then. So it's very, very, very fun. It's very, very, very pretty.
Has he told you about this game?
I have not. No.
Friends don't have secrets, and secrets don't
I
have
haven't
friends.
seen you since I got the beta for it. So it's good. It's real good, though.
Mm-hmm. What are you playing, Dylan?
I have one other thing.
Oh, seriously?
I know, right? And it's called, again, I lost my show notes.
We're going to rename this podcast, by the way.
It's the Cliff Plays Everything podcast.
The Jump Off a Cliff podcast.
It's a story about my uncle. It's a Steam game.
Story about your uncle?
Yeah, and so the premise of this is
Wait, that's the name of the game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were launching into an anecdote about your uncle.
That's what I was waiting for.
Literally, it's called A Story About My Uncle. And you should play it. It's really fun. I've only played a half hour of it so far, but it's the setting is you're a dad telling your kid a bedtime story, and so you start telling him about this uncle of yours who was always on adventures, and this one time you went into his house and found this super suit that you put on, and then you stepped into his observatory and it shot you to this like faraway land. But the entire premise of the game is there's no bad guys, there's no enemies, it's all exploration, and you do all your exploration. It's almost like a first-person platformer game where you can jump super high and you have this like energy beam grappling hook that you use to pull yourself from like one floating island to the other. I don't know if I've ever played a game that gave me like a bigger sense of like speed and vertigo than I've played with this.
You need to come over and play the PSVR is what you need to
and
do.
this is like the most VR-like experience I've ever had not wearing a headset. So you start out and you're just jumping on things and you're exploring these series of islands, but eventually you get to the point where there'll be these big floating rocks over you. You'll run, jump, shoot your grappling hook energy beam, grab them, they'll pull you forward. You'll use that momentum to like sling you further across the thing to land on another island. It's really fun. I remember, after I started playing it, I remembered that I saw videos of it. I think it came out like 2 years ago, and thinking like that game looks so fun. And I didn't even realize I owned it. So very fun. I'm going to keep playing that one. It's a Steam game, but
is that on your alphabet, like your alphabetical list?
It is. Yeah. It's a story. So yeah, that is me playing through my Steam stuff alphabetically.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you were doing that.
Yeah. I'm still on A.
What you been playing?
Well, I'm guilty of playing only Hearthstone again last week. Because when I get really competitive about something, that's what I do. So I just
deep dive.
I built like 3 decks and I'm winning.
Literally the other day,
all the time.
We're riding the elevator down, and I look over at Dylan holding his phone sideways. I'm like, "Are you playing Hearthstone in the elevator?" He's like, "Yeah, I just lost my connection to the internet."
It disconnected me.
I hate that.
Yeah, in the elevator. But I reconnected when I got to the bottom and I won.
That's what matters.
That's always a good thing.
I think I'm like on a 20-win streak with like 1 loss since I restarted playing. So
that's
I'm
awesome.
not even losing. Just all winning all the time.
You're just a winner. You're just
winning.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
One
just
might
luck
say.
or if I'm just playing scrubs, but it's a good ego boost either way.
It always makes me feel better about myself.
Right? Especially when you're playing against real people. Like, I'm not even...
Oh, I started playing another game on my phone because it was suggested by somewhere, and I love, don't ask me why, but I love, like, golf games. I've always loved playing golf games.
I hate golf more than anything in the world.
I hate the actual game.
Right? But I love golf games.
Yeah. So there's a game called Golf Clash or something.
Yeah.
On Android. I have to think about it. I've got an Android. Yeah, it's called Golf Clash. Anyway, yeah, you just play these stupid games, and it's so addicting. And yeah, and I was 3rd place in the beginner league.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We should
You won a trophy?
Yeah, I won a trophy. Got all kinds of achievements for it.
We should all 3 of us play
Super Mini Golf?
I think it's called Super Mini Golf is great, but Golf with Your Friends is like this mini golf game on the PC that you can play.
I'm into it.
Yeah, cooperative with your friends.
Oddly enough.
If you have them.
Now, and I've played it, but now that I think about it, I think I played it networked with my kids, so maybe we didn't play it on the same PC, but I wonder if you could play it on the same. It's ridiculously fun. So.
Yeah, I don't know why. I like real golf. I mean, I'll watch it just because I'm like, look at all these people being bored. And I'll be one of those people for about 5 minutes and realize I hate it. But golf on the phone or a golf game?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I used to play Links, and I'd play, like, there was a golf game.
Wii Golf?
Yeah, Wii Golf. Oh, you don't even know how much Wii Golf I've played.
We were really into the bowling more than anything.
Oh, bowling was fun too.
great.
Like, I probably played Wii Sports more than any other game I ever played on the Wii.
It was great.
I mean, I played it for a while.
One of my favorite Wii Sports memories. I just we would play so much, but we were playing, and my two buddies were switching off. They were playing the same player, but they were taking turns rolling, and they were one ball away from a 300 in Wii bowling, which I could see one person doing it. That's cool, but like two people were doing this, and they bowled a strike every single frame to the last frame, and then someone whiffed and like missed one pin, and they were so mad at each other. It was,
and that was the day their friendship ended.
Yeah,
I remember. I mean, because we got that system, and I mean, we played Wii Sports, I think, constantly for like the next 2 weeks. But I remember
it was a great pack-in title thing,
and tennis was great too.
Tennis was awesome. I remember
tennis, you could just kind of swing your hand at whatever, and it was fine.
Yeah. I remember playing like boxing like so many times in a row, though. Waking up the next morning and like I'm like, oh my god, what have I done to myself? And like my shoulders hurt, my arms hurt. Like I'm like, I can't. They don't lift any further than this. I can't dress myself. But yeah, that was. I mean, there was some fun. But yeah, no, golf games have always been. I mean, like I said, I hate golf. My grandpa tried to teach me how to golf for a decade. And I was awful, always awful. But golf games are super fun.
Yeah, I golfed 9 holes once. I got one par and felt like I was the best.
You were. That's good.
I golfed a par on my first golf experience ever, and I'm never probably going to golf again.
My grandpa taught me how to golf for like 6 or 8 years, and then but it was just like going out to the driving range and practicing.
I'd rather just drive balls than try to.
But then I went out and visited him. He's like, we're going to go to, a real golf course. We're going to go real golfing. And we got there at like 5:30 in the morning, and I golfed like 150. I mean, like I'm bad. real bad.
Know what that means,
150 would be like if you're playing 18 holes? 18
like
holes.
Double par every hole.
That's strokes for 18 holes.
Yeah.
When a par is going to be
I mean, probably normally I think on a course like that is probably like what 75, 79. I don't know exactly, but yeah. So I like doubled every single hole.
I hit a ball at a driving range once.
That's what matters.
But at least you finished.
Exactly, I did finish. But I after finishing, I never wanted to do it again ever.
Yeah. But it also reminds me of why I brought up Super Mini Golf was our first like garbage PC we got in our house, which was awesome for word processing,
right?
But that's probably about it.
That pinball game
accessing AOL, but
that machine probably also cost $2,500.
I don't remember.
I remember my first 486, 25 megahertz, got in like 1994 was $2,000, $2,500. Like computers nowadays are cheap compared to how much they cost 20 years ago.
True.
But my brother's always been a kind of a techie guy, so. He burnt me Caesar 3 and Super Mini Golf.
Nice.
So I played a lot of Super Mini Golf. It was pretty great.
That's awesome.
I like it.
But yeah, golf games are way better than golf.
Way better than golf.
Yeah,
they're indoors.
Less ugly pants.
You get about the same workout playing golf on a TV and in real life. So
probably, yeah, I can see that.
I guess you walk kind of if you count that as...
If you don't take a cart,
I'm taking a cart.
Yeah, I'm not walking a golf course. Have you seen the alligators on those things in Florida? Like they're massive. I'm not walking along a golf course.
You don't live in Florida though, Adam.
I know,
watched Happy
but
Gilmore.
That's where a lot of golf courses are.
There's no alligators in Seattle.
You don't know that.
That's true. There could be alligators in Seattle. There's not.
How many times have you golfed in Seattle?
That is true.
There you go.
Next time our bosses are on, I'll ask him how many times he's seen. Because he golfs every Saturday.
That's a lot of golf.
That would be a news headline for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of news, should we talk about some?
Yes.
Good transition.
News. Yeah, you like how I did that?
That was real nice.
I'm going to keep the momentum on this thing going.
Boom, we're done. So first of all, we're going to talk, and this actually directly impacted. No. This was not. This was the Steam store, or Steam itself, updated over the weekend, I believe, to allow configuration with all Xbox controllers, which is great for me. I forgot, did it 2 weeks ago where they added it for all the PS4 controllers, which was screwing you up.
Well, no, they added the support evidently for the PS4 controllers farther back than that, didn't they?
It wasn't super long ago, I don't
But
think.
I remember trying to use a PS4 controller with it, and it just didn't click.
work. Yeah.
It didn't work. But immediately I got the Xbox One S controller,
Yeah,
or whatever it is, and right out of the box, it was perfect. It works fine.
And I've never had a problem with my Xbox controllers on
so
any
what's
game.
What's this update they're adding all of a sudden?
Apparently, for every game that you've played that an Xbox controller works flawlessly in, it's because the developer coded in Xbox One or Xbox 360 controller specifically to the game.
Okay.
And so what this does is it allows them to just say, like, hey, people have controllers, and it's agnostic to what that controller is. So if you have, from a development standpoint, it'll be the same whether you have a PS4 controller or a Xbox One controller, an Xbox 360 controller, and a bunch of other generic controllers.
Most controllers now have the two shoulder buttons on each
they're
side,
all kind of
two
the same.
sticks. Yeah, they're all...
But what it'll mean in theory is that you'll have it'll be easier for developers to put those into Steam games.
Okay.
And so it should work better. It'll be more consistent. You'll be able to do profiles for different controllers. So that's super nice. But one thing that kind of snuck into this, like, I think that's great. Like, I'm super happy about that. I probably game now more, like, you can tell how much of a little of a PC master race person I am, and that I don't game and keyboard and mouse very often anymore at all. I use a controller for a lot of things, just because I'm lazy, I guess. But one thing that they also included this is you can now move Steam games locations from the Steam client itself. So, like, if you're like me and I have a teeny tiny C drive on my computer, it's like 120 gig SSD, and then I keep all my Steam games on a brand new, like, 3 or 4 terabyte hard drive that I got it for Christmas, actually, for my Steam games. But every once in a while, and it doesn't happen often anymore because I've set it up so it'll automatically install that drive. But when I first got it, I had them like half and half split. Had to get a special program that would move them and create shortcuts to them. And it's kind of a pain in the ass. It's a third party thing. And now within Steam itself, you can actually like right click on a game and say change location, and Steam itself will move all the files from one place to another. So even if I decided I wanted to move them to another hard drive, you can just say, hey, I want to move this here. Or like you can, if you want to do it the opposite way and you've got a super fast SSD like I do and a older, not as fast mechanical drive, you can say, I'm only going to play this game for the next 2 weeks, move it from your mechanical drive over to your SSD, get the speed of your SSD, and then move it back when you're done or delete it when you're done. So for you, that doesn't matter because your entire hard drive's an SSD.
Right, but it's only 512. So, I mean, I could theoretically fill it up as quickly as I did my PS4.
Yep. Yeah, right.
So because my original PS4 is just, like, I think I've got 20 gigs left to play with on that thing. Mm-hmm. So I can install it to the external drive? I can install it to an external drive, basically?
In theory, if you wanted to.
Are you saying like
mine's an internal. Mine's an internal one. I don't know how a game, like, I mean, games on a PS, well, I know at least on an Xbox One actually run faster off an external drive on the Xbox. So, I mean, I would assume if you have USB 3.
I've got USB 3 and I've got a C.
Yeah, so you might be able to, if you had a fast enough external drive to actually run games. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never tried. Might work, though. I mean, USB 3 drives are fast now. Like, I would say for, like, if you're playing, like, I wouldn't ever play, like, Overwatch off an external drive. where, that really matters, but something like a platformery game would probably work just fine, I would guess. I don't know. Try and find out. Do you have an external drive?
Yeah.
Done. Let's do it.
I do. I've got a couple of them. Actually,
I've got datas. Yes. They need places. But so I was excited about that.
So is that all they did? So that's what they did in the update was
a couple other little things, a couple little bug fixes. Now, when you go to uninstall a game, instead of delete local content, I think is what it used to be called, which was incredibly unintuitive. Now it actually says uninstall when you want to uninstall a game. So little things.
I like that.
Right. Yeah. Steam
language, like, let's help out the
dumb people. Yeah. Steam.
That would help me, and I don't think
You're not dumb.
I'm dumb.
You are not dumb.
I am. Okay.
I think that Steam's a great product that is not really very well known for its user interface
it's ease of use.
Yeah, ease of use. So it's nice to see them doing little things like that every now and again.
Good stuff.
Next thing, we've been talking.
Yeah.
So have you guys seen this screenshot? So Playdead Software, the fine folks who brought us Inside Limbo, which I think is like, I don't know, our game mascot for this podcast.
Yeah.
Because
at least for
we need to talk to them about.
I'm not sure they're in. Scandinavia somewhere, I think. So might be hard. They're asleep usually when we're awake.
It's pretty, whatever it is.
Well, and that's my favorite thing about this. So the folks that made Inside and Limbo are announcing a new game, and literally all they released is a tweet, and it's like some sort of kind of humanoid creature walking up what looks like, I don't know, what do you want to say? Either it looks snowy to me. Does that look snowy to you?
Yeah, that's a hillside or a cliffside.
like a cliffside. There's some sort of like shooting star or spaceship or meteor burning through the sky, and it looks like the humanoid guy might have a parachute on.
Yeah, that's
he's
totally
kind of like he's dragging a tattered parachute, and he's got like a
helmet on,
breathing helmet probably. Yeah. So maybe he
So Playdead
crash landed.
We don't know the gender of this character.
It's a they.
It's a they. Gender inclusive here.
Be nice. So they released that picture with a tweet that says, "Thanks for your warm reception of Inside," which apparently is all uppercase. I didn't realize. Since release, Playdead founder Arndt Jensen and the team have been working on the next adventure. That's all they've released. And I have read 24 full-length articles about what their next game is about, or
theories.
It is crazy what people that like. I don't know if it must just be a slow news month, because the number of people that are like, "Oh my God, they're making a new game and here's what it is." I'm like, you don't know anything. But I've greatly enjoyed the speculation behind.
It's a game about a guy walking over a cliff with a tattered parachute and something crashing in the background. It's going to be great,
right?
What else does that?
I can tell by the
lately?
screen though that this game's going to be even better than what they've done before. It just looks magnificent.
It does look very pretty.
I don't know. It looks real good.
But I've very enjoyed the buzz around it. The other interesting thing that I found out about Playdead the other day. So Playdead was founded by this Arndt Jensen. Arndt.
A-R-N-T.
What was his last name?
Jensen.
Arndt Jensen. I could be related to that guy. I think I have relatives named Arndt Jensen.
Arndt or Arndt?
Arndt. My great-grandfather's name was actually Arndt. Right?
You might want to hit this dude up.
Is that a contraction?
I think so, yeah.
Like Arnott?
Yeah. No, he was. We've talked about this before. He was my relative that turnip farmed in Nevada, homesteaded there. His last name was not Jensen, but I am related to Jensen's. So, anyway.
So for work, he turned up?
Oh,
not really.
That
was a really bad joke.
It was bad. So it was founded by this Arndt Jensen fellow and another guy. And apparently at the end, like about a year before Inside released, they had a big falling out. And the other dude walked away from the company with like $7.5 million.
What?
Right? It's pretty impressive, though, when you think that Limbo and Inside sell for, I mean, Inside was not expensive, but it was like $20, right?
I think.
Oh, when
MSRP.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay that for it. But,
yeah, neither did I.
But I mean, you know, they've both been in that, you know, I mean, I've seen Limbo as cheap as like 3 or 4, but I mean, I've seen it as high as 10. And so it's pretty impressive when you think about the number of sales they must had to have made in order to have, I mean, $7.5 million to give this dude. So,
right.
That's
anyway,
a lot of copies.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it, but I'm not going to pretend I know what it's about yet.
Yeah, no.
So, I will.
What is it about? Please tell.
He's going to write an article about it for our website tomorrow.
Okay, gotcha.
What it's called. It doesn't even have a name yet. But we know it's definitively a they. Right,
it's going to be called Space.
Space. Excellent. I like it.
Well, and now because they
Dead
capitalize
in Space.
Because they capitalized the name Inside in their tweet.
They also capitalized Limbo, though, I think. So maybe that's just how they do things.
Yeah, it's capital S, capital P, capital A, capital C, capital E.
Maybe we should do a lowercase c.
I don't think they do that.
No, they wouldn't.
It's all capitals all the time.
Finally, speaking of, I guess, inclusive, we're going to talk about some, like, EA Motive, which is a new EA studio that was founded a couple years ago, and it's founded by Jade Raymond, who is she worked on Assassin's Creed, she worked on Watch Dogs, she was a producer on both of those. She's like a big deal in gaming. She left those games to form this EA Motive studio, and what's most important about that is they are one of the EA studios that's making new Star Wars IP.
Oh wow!
It's no one knows almost anything about it except that it's not based off any of the movies. It's brand new characters, and and based on the pedigree, it should be really cool. Mm-hmm. She, I think, last year hired Amy Hennig, who was the director and writer for the Uncharted series. So she joined in 2014. So now you've got these two people that have this great pedigree of making games, and they're making a Star Wars game. And then I think last week they hired Kim Swift, who from Valve, who did Left 4 Dead 2, Half-Life 2 episodes 1 and 2, and Quantum Conundrum, to come work on this too. So like, it's only newsworthy because, oh my God, there's so much talent pushed into one little EA studio, and they're making a Star Wars game.
And they're all women.
And they're all women, which is kind of novel in this terrible industry.
Right.
Especially, and I would say that's maybe that's not true. I am absolutely shocked at the number of that's not the right word, not shocked. I think it's amazing how many super talented women work in indie games. But it's not as common for them to work in the AAA space. So for these three people to be working at one studio and making, something based on probably one of my favorite IPs of all time makes me real happy. So 2018 could be real good. I hope it's, is
that when the game that they're working on is
2018
aiming for it?
So but there's been no anything about it, but I've played some great games that are set in the Star Wars universe that have nothing to do with Star Wars, like all the Knights of the Old Republic games, and it could be great. I also saw Rogue One this weekend, and you didn't like it, didn't you?
It's not that I didn't like it, it just wasn't a Star Wars movie to me. Does that make sense?
Nope, not at all. But
it fit in the Star Wars universe, but it wasn't a Star Wars movie. See,
and to me, that's how I feel about the first three. Like I went into the three, 1, 2, and 3 in Star Wars land. I went into those movies and I'm like, these are. First of all, they weren't good movies, but they didn't feel like Star Wars to me. And I went and saw The New Hope, or I saw. The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And like from the second I sat down in that theater, I had like just this feeling in my insides of like, oh my God, this is real Star Wars. Like I spend that entire movie, and it doesn't matter. I've seen that movie probably a half dozen times now. And that feeling is exactly the same. Like this is Star Wars, and like I care about every single person in this, and like I care about the story, and I care the entire time I'm just like, ugh.
Right.
And Rogue One was the exact same way for me the entire movie. I don't know. I really liked it.
It was for me. This is a whole other discussion. But Star Wars Rogue One, for me personally, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me at all, it was too heavy. It was a story that didn't necessarily need to be told. We all knew it. We all know it. We all know the story to a degree.
Yeah.
But I guess just hearing Forrest Whitaker's
dark too.
Another Forrest Whitaker accent gone awry.
God, that was the one thing I
like, do I pay attention to his eye or the really bad accent?
That accent was bad. I will 100% agree with that. Forrest Whitaker was not good in that movie, but everything else was good.
It was a great movie. I just don't think it fit with Star Wars.
Did you?
I got to go see it.
You still haven't seen it?
I was going to go to the movie.
In his defense, I only saw it day before yesterday. So.
Yeah, I was going to go see it yesterday, and we decided to do something else.
I haven't said anything that gives it away, have I?
No, I don't think so.
And I could really care less about spoilers.
I don't
really know the premise of the movie, but I could probably guess what happens if I knew.
It's a good premise. It's.
Did you not know what the premise was going into it?
A little bit, but I'd only seen the trailers. So that was all I'd seen.
I haven't really.
And I had not had anything spoiled. So
I don't really like watching trailers and stuff. I just go in.
I'd seen the trailers and that was it. Did you think, without saying who they are, because I'm curious to see what Dylan says, did the CGI characters bother you?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
And
it was funny because Kevin was next to me and we're watching it, and I leaned over. I'm like, that guy's not real. And he's like, what are you? I'm like, that guy's CGI. I'm like, that dude died like 94,
right,
or something.
And so I asked Brooke after the movie. I'm like, so as not to spoil it for you, that the character at the end is CGI because obviously they have to be.
Yeah, that one in particular.
But very well done.
Oh,
very well done.
Yeah.
And I said, did you catch the other CGI character And she's like, no, I had no idea. Who was it? I'm like, for every single person that bitches about how bad the CGI in that movie was and how it pulled them out of the movie and how blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
it's only because you know who they are.
Knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the CGI I thought was like, I knew
So
and I still didn't care. Like it was really well done. Go
but
see it.
I also didn't realize that character in particular was going to have as big of a part. I thought it was just going to be an in and out because they said it was CGI. So I'm like, oh, it's just going to be
you
an
didn't
in and
figure
out.
he was going to be in like 50% of the scenes.
Character.
Yeah, it was.
So, anyway, we've gone way off topic.
Doesn't matter. We're talking about Star Wars. Who cares?
It's kind of like video games.
Well, there's a lot of video games about Star Wars.
There are a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so
And
now,
they're all awesome.
right? No, that's
No,
not
they're
true.
not.
Some of them are
lie.
real bad.
That's a terrible, terrible lie.
What's your favorite Star Wars game?
I don't have one.
The original Battlefront.
Also very good. I think mine is as good and bad as they were. I think mine is the Force Unleashed games.
Oh, Force Unleashed. That was fun.
That was cool.
But what was the one on the Super Nintendo? Was that Empire Strikes Back?
Probably. It's.
I know that
don't
there was
remember.
a platformer with Luke Skywalker and you had his lightsaber
Yeah,
and blah, blah. That one was fun.
Yeah.
Because I like my hack and slash crap.
Yeah. The Force Unleashed, like especially, I like
beat 'em up.
if all I could get was the first part. I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 where you play as Darth Vader and are just like walking through this thing, just flinging people and lightsabering people, and you get those same powers towards the end of the game as your character. But to start out that game with like every single force power and just be amazingly powerful. There's a scene in Rogue One where you see that version of Darth Vader. Like Darth Vader in every movie you've seen him in is scary just because he's a big scary guy that has powers and he randomly kills people. There's a scene in that movie where you're like, oh, that's why everyone's scared of him. It's real good. Anyway, we're going to talk about hard games now. So Rise and Shine, too damn hard.
Wait, what are we doing?
Other news.
There's more news.
Our last news story of the day.
So Dylan dug this up, and it looks real cool. Like I remember hearing a little bit about it, but it was kind of under my radar, and it looks real cool.
Yeah, so I guess the headline is incorporating people who made BioShock with a new horror game where you play as a blind woman. It's called Perception, and you play as a blind woman in a house that is haunted by the presence, I guess. And it plays, I guess, from the description, and there is a gameplay, like a 3-minute gameplay trailer out, I think. That kind of gives you an idea, but it kind of plays like Outlast. So you're not fighting anything, but you're trying to hide and keep the presence away, whether that's hiding under a bed or in a closet. So Outlast was free recently, so if anyone's played that, you have an idea of what this might look like and play like. But it looks really neat.
The game has a really cool mechanic, though, in that you're blind. Like, so, I mean, in theory, this game should just be like no
Darkness,
screen.
right?
Yeah, no screen, just, audio, but that would probably make a terrible game. And so they've introduced a mechanic where you can like almost auto-locate like a bat. And so you'll throw things and it'll make sound waves, and that's how you see your environment.
I'm watching the trailer right now.
Yeah, and so what that introduces is, I mean, it's a horror game where you have to make noise, which gives you the opportunity to see what's happening.
But you might attract the bad guy, right?
Yeah, right?
So what saves you is also your enemy.
Yeah.
And that seems like
It sounds really interesting.
What saves you is your enemy?
Because you have,
like that's
it's
the only way you can
see
navigate
it.
the house. So
gotcha.
like,
I'm like, what?
I mean, it wasn't
Gotcha,
the most elegant sentence, but come on, Adam.
Sorry. Gotcha. I'm just this looks really
Yeah,
interesting.
you're just real into it.
I'm super intrigued by it. And I mean, like, I'm not a big horror person. I don't know. Like, I get a little too into my video games to enjoy horror games. They tend to scare me. Like, I remember playing Dead Space. Did you guys play Dead Space?
Dead Space is
a great game.
That's the one out in the outer space one.
Yeah, and it's real jump scary. It's also
that.
one of those games where you'll be like fighting something in front of you, and then all of a sudden something will attack you from behind, or
Eat your
you'll be
face.
pulling you towards something, and then somebody will attack you from behind. I'd end those play sessions like just like sweaty, like my heart pounding. I'm like, am I even having fun? I don't know if I'm having fun, but I kept going and beat it. So, yeah, but no, this Perception looks really, really, really good. in an interesting kind of way. So
talk about a way to save on your graphics budget,
right?
Too, man.
But I mean, the funny thing is even though everything is kind of monochromatic, the graphics are still really
it's
good.
real pretty.
Yeah. But it's monochromatic,
it's
and there's not a whole
minimalistic,
lot of texture going on.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see that. I don't believe it actually has a release date yet. It was apparently supposed to release last year on PC and is not quite out yet. But I mean, BioShock developers have...
Oh, that's a creepy doll in the video.
There is also
a really creepy doll.
There's definitely a creepy doll in the video.
Oh.
So it's it's one of those things where Irrational Games had some very talented people, so hopefully they can pull this off. I guess we will see.
Yeah, you can check out their Kickstarter page. They have reached their goal, so it should indeed happen. It looks like they originally had anticipated a delivery of June of last year, but they also have other goals to bring this to PS4. So right now, it will be on PC, but they're going to try to bring it to PS4, Xbox One. One goal allows them to do a virtual reality version of the game. So they have a lot of stuff planned for this game if they can get the support behind it.
Can you still, and it's too late to actually do any of the kickstarting though, right?
I don't know.
I haven't really kickstarted much before.
Yeah, so it looks like the Kickstarter is actually over, but you can still pre-order it.
Pre-order the game.
So now the last time that I heard of a game, well, I mean, I've heard a lot of games on Kickstarter, but when they had all the stretch goals to bring it to different systems and do this and da-da-da-da.
It's often a bad idea.
Yeah, because wasn't it the Mighty Number 9 that had all the hoopla and hype built up around
Speaking
it?
of Kickstarter games that failed.
Yeah, like it had this massive build up to it because it was one of the creators of Mega Man and la 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 and the whatever. But then it hit its goal.
Yeah.
To the point of where he has to do it instead of just one system, he's got to do it across the board. So it got delayed and delayed and delayed.
Well,
and
it came out and then it was garbage.
And then it came out, it was just craptacular.
Yeah. It's I think that people don't understand how much games cost to make.
Right.
They look at this Kickstarter raised $168,000. And you're like, oh my gosh, that is so much money. But that in reality is enough to pay. I mean, these guys are based out of Boston. So high cost of living, high cost of income, even if they're not, I mean, that's like 3 junior programmers for a year.
Right.
And a game like this doesn't get built by 3 junior programmers, Right. It's, you have to have a bunch of different people, and you have to have, you're not, unless your game is really tiny, you're not developing it off Kickstarter. It's just how it goes. So it's nice that they can use it though to give them that extra oomph that they need to kind of get over the hurdles of making a game. So hopefully it comes out. I'm super excited.
It looks really interesting. Yeah. It looks good.
I'm excited. All right, now we're going to talk about hard games.
Mm-hmm.
As we talked earlier, I thought Rise and Shine was too hard. You guys should try it.
I want to try it.
And I want to ask you a question that you mentioned the wonky controls, and I asked you about this last week after you mentioned the wonky controls. Do you think wonky controls made this game too hard, or is it just too hard, and then too hard mixed with wonky controls just makes it
impossible? Yeah,
I think, and furthermore on that, were the controls wonky, as in the controls were bad, like laggy or weird, or the control scheme, the way it was set up, was what was wonky? The
problem is this is a game that, in my opinion, should have been played with a controller. It's a platformer that, it's a platformer, and it's a bullet hell platformer. Like, you're running, you're jumping, you're shooting, you're reloading, you're switching, your ammo types, you're switching your gun types, you're switching all these different things, which would be really easy on a controller because you've got triggers, you've got bumpers, you've got, shoot keys and reload keys, and they're all right in the thing you're actually holding. But it was almost like you only had, and with an analog stick, in theory, you should be able to point your cursor anywhere on a screen and shoot it. But it didn't work that way. Have you ever played a game that it really felt like you only had maybe 16 degrees of movement? You could shoot diagonal, and then you could shoot straight up, and then there maybe was another 2 in between
like
there.
The old 1980s
right?
Castlevania games.
Exactly.
Or Contra, Contra.
Yeah.
Contra, you could shoot straight ahead, 45 degrees and straight up.
And this one maybe had an extra couple of variations in between there,
Right.
but it wasn't like, I mean, literally the first time out of the gate, you get out into this open thing and there's these mines that pop up. Like, let's say your character's 4 feet tall because he's a little kid. They're hitting, it's
Like
vicious
that's a very
too.
tiny person.
He is. He's a little kid. He's like,
Okay.
I mean, maybe 4.5 feet tall. He's like 12. And he gets viciously dismembered throughout this entire game. Like, I've played so many games lately where kids get killed. It's just not good. And this is bloody too.
Rise and Shine is bloody?
Oh, super bloody.
Really?
Super bloody.
It looks so cute.
Right? Like, I remember reading a thing where they're like, this is a great game. Don't let your kids play it. Like, the kid gets, I mean, like, boom, and his head will fly across the screen. It's
Jesus.
blood spurts. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, in addition to the other things you kill also.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's entire parts of the game that were really wacky because you'd blow a guy up and then you'd, like, walk past and, like, his head would just kind of kick in front of you as you went past. But that aside, these mines pop up, and so let's say you're 4.5 feet tall. They're going up to 5.5 feet off the ground, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but you can't get too close to them because they're proximity mines. They'll explode. So you hang back, and I'm trying to shoot these, but they're popping up and down really fast. So if I'm shooting forward, I can't hit them because they're going up and down too fast. And I can't hit them at their peak, so they pop up and kind of hold and then sink, right? And the pop up and sinking is real fast, and they're holding at this, head level.
Angle.
And I can't hit them because I can't shoot them when they're popping up, and I can't actually target them when they're at their peak because that angle doesn't exist on my analog. So I played like the first 45 minutes of the game.
Or it exists on your analog. That just doesn't let you hit that.
It. Yeah, it's like there's a notch here and there's a notch here,
and it's in between.
And it's in between those two notches. And so I played the first like 45 minutes of the game using a controller because it made the most sense. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's kind of like a slow motion mechanic too, where you'll shoot a bullet, or remote control mechanic, where you'll shoot a bullet and then control it through.
I've seen that.
Yeah, these kind of mazy things. But then usually at the end, you have to angle it at something and then press a button and it'll go out of slow motion and go into full speed so you can shoot it. And 99% of the time, I couldn't do that last mechanic because I couldn't get the bullet to target the right direction to actually do it. So anyway, I read a thing on Steam and they're like, go use the keyboard. And so I started using a keyboard and mouse, and that worked better because the mouse, you could literally just put it anywhere, and when you clicked, it would shoot your bullet there. But then I'm, WASD is your movement controls, Q switches the kind of bullet you're shooting, E switches the kind of bullet you're shooting, Q switches the effect that bullet's going to have, R reloads, left control makes you move. When you're shooting, you had to hold down the right key to aim your gun. So like to pull out your gun and aim it is holding down your right key. Left mouse button shoots. So you've seen
me nauseous thinking of that.
There's a whole lot going on.
So go look at some of the boss fights now, where there's like 5 missiles and giant arms trying to hit you and 6 bad guys on the screen. And realize how many buttons you're having to push to do it. And it's made even more complicated by the fact that when your gun's out, so you're using your gun to shoot these things, but you're slower when you've got your gun out. So sometimes you'll have to let go of your gun in order to be able to run faster. Right. And I mean, it was just too many buttons for as much crap as there is going on. And so I mean, in this particular game, the game was made harder because the controls were bad, but the game was still really, really damn hard. So I guess my question for you guys is, when you go into a new game, like, so you've never played this game before, and let's even just say it has three levels of difficulty, and it's got easy, normal, and hard. Where do you go?
I always start with normal.
Yeah, I usually just play normal because I don't like to be punished for playing a game. And I feel like that's what harder difficulties do a lot of the time.
So like on Doom, have you played Doom yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you go for, because that one's got like 5 levels of difficulty.
Yeah. Nightmare and Insanity.
Or Send Me to Hell or something crazy. And I went for normal.
Yeah, I think I played it on normal.
And that was kind of difficult.
I thought it was the perfect difficulty.
Yeah. To give you an idea of what Kevin does, just because, by the way, I'm going to talk about him a lot. Or not a lot, but I'm going to make sure to mention him because he finally started listening to the podcast. And he's like, you had to talk about me playing WoW, huh? I'm like, yep, sure did. And I talked about you more.
Every episode.
Yeah.
Kevin on WoW this week is our new segment.
And it's not going to be him talking
What
about
did
WoW.
Kevin
It's going to
do
be us
on
talking
WoW
about him
this
playing
week?
WoW.
He rated. That's it. That's what it'll say
Tune
every
in
week.
next week for Kevin on WoW this week.
So I sit down to play Doom and I put it on normal and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my God, this is hard. And I was like, okay, but I stuck with it
Yeah.
for
Ish. Yeah.
He sits down, he puts it on the hardest difficulty
Yeah.
and he is just, what is a masochist?
Yeah.
Like he is just torturing himself over and having the time of his life.
Yeah.
I will never understand people.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
see, and I played Doom on easy, and I still wasn't very good at it. But it's more, it has less to do with me not enjoying hard difficulty levels, with me not ever wanting to play the same thing again. Like, and that was part of the problem with Rise and Shine. I got so bored playing the same thing over and over and over again until, I mean, like, essentially what you're doing is you're playing it over and over again until you can recognize what the pattern of things are, or when this happens, this is what I need to do.
But even still, like older games gave you that same kind of pattern-ish type of mentality and way you get through a boss fight. But if it's just so difficult, I mean, that's not a new thing.
No.
But it's just so hard.
And I think that's the
point?
thing, though, is I played, having played games now for 30, how old am I? But so let's say 34, 35 years, right? Because I got my first computer when I was 5. I'm to a point where I've spent so much time in the 80s and 90s playing the same part over and over and over again because I died. And I mean, back then game design was dumb too. So it'd be like you die and then get to watch a cutscene and then get to play it again before you could die again.
Yeah.
I've spent
That's
so much time
really
doing that I don't want to do that anymore. And I mean, there are exceptions like Super Meat Boy. Like
That's
that was
kind of the
okay
point.
because it was kind of fun and it was kind of visceral and like it was fun when you beat a level to see your little guy, like 500 of them screw out and then they all get killed by the first saw blade and then half of them make it up the jump and they get killed by the second saw blade. Like that was enjoyable, but
I like games like the Seasons After Fall.
Yeah.
that I'm finishing up. It's you don't die, you can't die,
Yeah.
and there's no learning curve to it. So it's just an experience, and I think I'm like you in that respect now.
And I mean, like Doom was really fun. It really was.
fun.
But I just didn't. I was backtracking all the time. Like I want to play a game where I'm always moving forward, and I don't. If I die, I don't want to have to go back more than like a minute. I want checkpoints constantly, and I don't want to have to save them manually. I just want to I want it. If I go through a door, if I go through anything, just save.
Right. Yeah, if a game's gonna be that hard, I want
frankly, even if it's that easy, like I don't want to.
Right.
Or if it's going to be like that, like with The Last of Us, the story keeps you going.
Yeah, right.
Like there needs to be some kind of motivation for me to want to murder myself over and over and
I think
over again.
the difference too is something like The Last of Us. Like I find it a little frustrating, just because it seemed like a lot on that was like, okay, so I've got to kill 5 bad guys. And so I'm going to kill the first one and then I'm going to die killing the second one. So now I've got to kill the first one again. But now I figured out how to kill the second one. So now I've got the first 2. All right. So now I'm going to die killing the third one and I've got to go. I know how to kill 1 and 2 and now I know how to kill 3. And so, I'd end up having to play it like 5 or 6 times to get through it. But at least on that, I feel like I'm progressing. A game like Inside, I know I'm going to die a bunch, but it's okay because I'm only going to have to play that little teeny portion of it again.
Right.
And I'm going to, every single time I die, I'm going to learn
get just a little
something
bit
new.
further.
Yeah, I'm going to figure something out, and I think maybe that's what I'm getting to too, is that lately games that have pissed me off where I'm dying a lot do it because I don't feel like I can solve them via being smarter. I feel like I have to solve them by being faster or being better. And like I'm almost 40, like my Twitch is a lot slower than it was when I was 15, like
I usually vocalize I'm all, oh God.
But I mean,
and I'm not doing anything to the controller. I'm just screaming at the screen.
You know what I mean though? Like I'm just not as fast at these things as I was a while ago. And I gotta think that's why I'm starting to play games that are, I don't have any urge to play online multiplayer games most of the time because I just know that everyone there is going to be better than I am. And I'm not, and that even if I put a lot of time into it, I'm never going to be as fast as most of the people playing Overwatch.
Right. It's based more on dexterity instead of just
and speed,
skill and knowing the mechanics of the game.
Yeah. And maybe it's just, I don't enjoy any of them enough to put
the work into it.
Because I'm not awesome at Rocket League, but I'm not bad. And there's a lot of kind of fast-paced stuff in that. But it's not, I don't know, it always feels different to me than, like, Rocket League doesn't feel like I'm playing Overwatch. Like, there's less buttons, there's less stuff,
and it's satisfying.
And it's more of like, that's more of like, it's not a, it's a game.
Well,
it's just a game.
And also, like I can play...
Yeah.
You can be awesome in that game and do crazy flippy aerials through the sky that require all sorts of insane dexterity. Or you can play just like a super solid fundamentals game and still be pretty good. And it seems like at some point a lot of those games don't allow you to just be that like fundamentals player.
Yeah. And something I can enjoy losing at Rocket League.
Right? Yeah.
A lot more often than if you get in a multiplayer shooter and someone on that other team just... has played way more than you. They've unlocked everything, and they're just trolling with some weapon combination that's just silly, and it just breaks the game before they nerf it.
But I will tell you, one of the most, I think that one of the most unique ways to approach difficulty that I've played was in Kingdom Hearts 2, where you'd... Trust me. So you'd fight, same thing. It's just a normal game that you play through these levels and then you'd fight a boss eventually. And usually you could save right before the boss. And if you died, you died. You'd play the boss again. Right. You die, you play the boss again. Usually like the third or fourth time, it would go like, hey, y'all, you suck. Do you want Mickey to come help you? And, because Mickey Mouse is in the game.
Hey,
and
boys, you suck.
Yeah. And he plays the king in Kingdom Hearts. And so
Thanks for ruining it for me, Cliff.
Sorry, man. You'll learn that about 5 minutes into Kingdom Hearts 1.
Gotcha.
Kingdom Hearts 2.8 just came out this week, too. But he would come in and he would help you defeat this bad guy. So, it wasn't just like he came in and killed him for you. You still had to do your stuff. But it made it so usually you could get past that guy without going like, oh, God, I've got to kill. I don't want to have to try and kill this dude 50 times. I can try 3 or 4 times. And it would give you the option, too. If you're like, no, I've got it this time, you can say, no, Mickey, I got this. No worries. But if you're like, I'm sick of doing this, Mickey would come in and help you, and then the story would progress. And that always seemed to me like a really smart way to get you past hard parts, There are just sometimes, too, I guess most of the time now when I get to somewhere I'm stuck, I just look up someone else's YouTube video of how to get past it. But... first of all, those don't always exist. And it would just be nice sometimes to be like, I'm stuck. Like, where am I supposed to go?
Throw me a bone.
Yeah, people, and like you said, you play GTA without the map, right? Or you have played GTA without the map?
I used to be pretty...
And I'm like the exact opposite. Like, I want a trail to follow to the next place I'm going. Like,
that's one of the things about open world games is they're just
too open.
Yeah. And some of the earlier ones really were just that. You had no direction.
Yeah.
But so when I started playing Infamous Second Son, totally open world, at least when you look at the map and you kind of see what's going on, you have an idea of where you're going and why you're going there.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't need I kind of like the like, hey, go this way, but a good compass works too.
Right.
But maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I'm just too lazy. But the reality is even though it sounds like I play a billion games every week, I do. And I play a lot of Rocket League. Like, I get that. I play 6-8 hours of Rocket League a week. But past that, I probably only play like another 4 or 5 hours of games. And I want to maximize the time. I don't want to walk around for 2 hours when I may only get to play those 2 hours stretched over, a couple days. The reality is Rise and Shine, the last level, took me an hour and a half to beat. And
that's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Like too much.
And that's over 3 playthroughs. So, I played it one morning from like 6 to 6:30, and then I came home and played it that night after my kid went to bed from like 10 to 10:30, and then I played it the next morning from 6 to 6:30. So, it wasn't even an hour and a half. I had to leave Rise and Shine running for like 36 hours to beat that one level. And that's just too hard because you couldn't save in the middle. At the very least, give me a save point in between obscenely hard bosses.
And are we at the point where we can just save at any time?
Right.
Really? Like, I've played plenty of games that you can do that.
And I understand that oftentimes they use that as a way to make something more difficult.
Right.
But when I'm playing on easy, let me save wherever I want. Like, I don't want it to be difficult. I want to play your game for the story. And I think that's actually one of my favorite things I've seen lately on games. Like, I think The Last of Us is actually that way, where the difficulty level is like hard because you're dumb, normal because I like a good mix of gameplay and story. And then I've seen a lot lately, they're like, I just want to see the story, don't make it too hard.
Right.
I mean, frankly, I'm playing The Last of Us on easy and it's still kicking my ass, but
Oh, really? I'm on normal.
I'm real dumb. Like, I've come to accept that. Like, stealth games are not my game, but
Maybe you're just not a patient gamer.
Well, are you using his?
You don't like
are you
hiding in the
using
shadows.
his hearing thing?
yeah, I'm just
'cause that
bad,
comes in
Adam.
hella handy.
I'm just real bad. I've accepted that about The Last of Us. I'm just bad at it.
Bricks and
Yeah. No,
bottles
I totally understand the concepts of.
shipping
Yeah.
dudes?
I get the concept of how to do it. I'm just bad at it.
It's really interesting. I kind of want to like watch you play.
No, you don't.
You're right. I get frustrated.
Yeah,
Give
right.
that to me.
Come on, Cliff.
I'll
Let's
just
get your
plow
crap
through this
together.
real quick.
right.
But I want a game where, especially a good story-driven game, which that is. I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to interrupt my story to replay the same thing 5 or 6 times, because that kind of gets in the way of the story.
Right, especially for story-driven games.
Yeah, you know.
But then I was going to kind of say, thinking back to like a game like Inside, where a big difference dying in Inside is you're always learning how to progress.
Exactly.
Right.
Whereas when I was playing Bloodborne, because we know how much I like that game and
You
how
were learning
sarcastic I am, I'm not learning anything. Like, there's just a lack of responsiveness, and you can get one-shotted like really easily by the big enemy, and I like that's silly. And then it throws you back to a point where you have to backtrack for a minute before you can even fight the amount of enemies that's even challenging.
Right.
So I
that
have
was
to, like,
kind of
kill
the same
these-
problem I had with Feist too. Is there were too many times where I think I'd gotten far enough into a level that there should have been a save point, and then I die, and there wasn't.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. I can't remember what game it was, but I would do that, and I'm like, oh, man, I finally got past that point, and then I got killed immediately.
Yeah.
And it didn't send me back to the beginning of that, or to where I finished that really difficult thing. It sent me way farther back.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Give
I
it to
had
me
to
in front
cross.
of the challenge.
I hate games that are inconsistent with that too. That was the best part. I mean, to me, like, I've been playing a lot of Inside Limbo-ish like games, and I think that one thing that Inside and Limbo nailed was pacing.
Yeah.
Like, you never. I mean, with the exception of one thing in Inside, I was able to get past everything on 2 or 3 or 4 tries.
What thing?
I think we all know which one it is.
Oh yeah, we've all played it now. So it was the fan. Where you'd have to climb up the ladder and use the fan to block the wind blasts.
How many times did that take you?
Oh, a ton of times, because I missed the switch. Or no, I thought I was supposed to do something different with the switch. That's what it was. I didn't catch the fact that I was
There's
supposed
a lot
to
of
let
ways you can interpret how that's done.
Yeah, and that was the only one that tripped me up. Yeah. But besides that, it was, I didn't mind when you'd walk into a new scene and it would just arbitrarily
boom,
kill
you're
you.
just
done. Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, well, don't do
That's
that
funny.
next
That's
time.
what's gonna happen.
Be a little more cautious or move a little faster.
It's
Faster.
like the
time.
horror movie. It's like the equivalent of a jump scare in a
Yeah,
horror movie.
right?
You're like, oh, okay, well, now I know it's there, so I'll know when to expect
Won't do
it.
that next
You
time.
always
Even
know
though I
exactly
still
what to do.
do that.
But the one thing about that fan part, I managed to get through it, I felt fairly quickly.
Yeah, he did it faster than I did.
But
I had to look it up.
It's the only, I think, puzzle in the game that I felt like it actually had a certain amount of like dexterity needed to do this puzzle.
And I thought there was a
Versus
lot of
instead
misdirection on that one, too.
Yeah, it's very tricky, but it's not like I gotta go put this box on a button. It's like I actually have to like quickly
There's
do
timing
this.
and stuff,
And
yeah.
there's not very many puzzles where you actually have to be real quick about.
Except for that stupid underwater thing.
Oh, yeah, that was rough,
Because
too.
I'm like, oh, look, it's a friend. Nope,
No.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always felt that game was well paced, and it really, there was nowhere in that game where I'm like, haha, I've got past that, and then it's like, nope, you died. Now you have to go even further back. Like they chunked that into really manageable parts, and that's something I've found that's been kind of disappointing in other games I've played lately. So I hate coming back to Inside, but the game was so
such a
well
great game.
done.
I really want somebody from that company to kind of explain what that was at the end.
You don't get that, Adam.
They really need to do that for me.
No, sorry.
You gotta wait for Inside 2 Outside.
God, that'd be amazing if the next game was just called
Inside to
Outside.
outside.
Are you listening, Playdead?
No, it's
We want Outside.
It's the middle of the night there.
But I think on this difficulty discussion, maybe take it back many years, like playing old NES titles,
Yeah.
which were arguably a lot harder in general,
significantly harder,
because of the limitations to making a game, I guess, playable for a longer period of time, right?
Right.
And yeah, that's exactly it. They weren't more difficult because they wanted you to.
They weren't difficult because they wanted you to be challenged.
Yeah, they were difficult because they didn't.
They wanted to make
a
your
game
money's worth, right?
But I think that's the crazy thing is, have you guys ever played old arcade games like on a MAME emulator where you have unlimited quarters?
Yeah.
Like you go and play, like I remember playing, the two that always stick out to me are Double Dragon and Golden Axe, because I played those so much in the arcade, and I could get to the, spending like $1 or $2, I could get to the same point every single time. And I'm like, these games are just too hard. Like there's no way I can get past this. And then you play it on an emulator and you realize that Golden Axe is like a 15-20 minute playthrough, like first to end. That game lasts 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Double Dragon, 15 minutes first to end, or even
really?
Yeah, they're just not very long.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. I hope this isn't a rehash of something we've already talked about, but I had a similar experience. I had a little small arcade in my hometown growing up. And they would do this Friday special where you'd give them $10 and they put nail polish on quarters, and you could have as many quarters as you want. So when you pumped them into the game, they could
nail polish on quarters do.
Just so they
know which
essentially
ones are
made their
quarters.
own tokens, but they would work.
Gotcha.
They would work just as a quarter would in the machine. So, but they would give you unlimited tokens, which was really cool. But I was able to finish arcade games, and yeah, they don't take very long if you have enough quarters to do it.
Do you remember back when there was at least 3 of them? There was the X-Men game and the Simpsons game and the Ninja Turtle game that were essentially the same game
with different skins.
Like those games are so hard.
Like Chex Quest.
Yes, exactly. Those games are so hard in the arcade. But when you have, because we have a thing kind of like that called the Nickel Arcade in Utah, where you could get in for like $2 and then all games were a nickel or 2 nickels. And so, I mean, you can beat that game on like $1 or 2 worth of nickels. And they're really not that hard when you have unlimited stuff. They maybe take same thing. You can beat it in 20, 25 minutes. You go to GameWorks, you can beat that game in 20, 25 minutes. And so they were hard. Yeah.
Because I was the guy that was like, oh, that level's too hard. I'm going home.
I'm done with that one. I'm going to go play this one until I think it's too hard.
Yeah, which in 10 minutes later, I was back to the other one.
Yeah.
It's real fun.
And I think it was just that, they artificially made a game harder by limiting lives or costing you money. I mean, if you were willing to pump quarters into a Double Dragon machine, you could do it too, but it was going to be $10. I remember, right? I remember playing. Do you guys remember Afterburner?
Oh yeah.
I beat out. Yeah, of course you don't. I beat Afterburner in the arcade, and it cost me $5 or $6 to do.
Now, did you play the Afterburner that you sat down with the big seat and the thing moved with you as you flew? Did you ever play that version? In the arcade? Because they had the machines like you get in like the Jurassic Park game where you get in and
I don't
it's like,
think I did. I think
that
it was
my favorite at Candyland Arcade in West Palm Beach, Florida.
I think it was just like the joystick one.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I was all
nostalgia-y. But it's those, and I think maybe that's why I'm just not as into hard games now. Like, it took legitimate, and I mean, and there's something to be said for being really good at Mario Brothers. And I mean, I've played Mario Brothers so damn many times that, now it takes me a minute to kind of brush off the rust, but I know where everything is. I can probably beat Mario now in 20 minutes because I know where all the warp points are. I know where all the bad guys are. You can, all the secrets. And there's something to be said for that. Playing the same levels. I mean, on my Commodore, man, I probably played the first 5 levels of 100 games 1,000,000 times because it was what you had,
Right.
Yeah, as each level goes, you're much better at the level before.
But it's really weird to think that, like, I beat games all the time nowadays. I mean, I've beaten, I've beaten more games 4 or 5 games in the last month.
Yeah, I've beaten more in the last year than I have in the first 25 years of my game.
Because when you were a kid, like, I mean, first of all, games were way more expensive and hard to come by. Because you didn't have money,
right? Or you rented them,
played them for 3 days, but they were still really hard. But I mean, I beat games all the time now, and I rarely beat games as a kid, and it was just because they were really, really hard and artificially really, really hard. So, I just don't want that anymore in my games. I want to just be able to play and not be frustrated.
I hear you.
So we had these harder games that were, on the older platformers that were harder because of, limited checkpoints and whatever. But then I'm going to think about what's next is I'm going to use one of my favorite first-person shooters, Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, on the N64 as a good example. But we had these shooters where you had 100 health, right? You had a certain amount of health, and if you lost that, you died. And then kind of shortly after that, as we moved into like the Halos and stuff,
The regenerating kind of health.
The original Halo, you did have health, but you also had a shield that regenerated.
Okay.
But then after that, you moved into regenerating health, which made games too easy, I think, because you could literally hide in a corner and your health would replenish, right? There was no inherent challenge to diminishing health.
And I'll be honest, I remember distinctly like when you went from having like 100 hit points to, hey, your screen flashes kind of red and you just need to get under cover.
That just means hide.
And that to me was like the greatest point in video games. Like,
right. For you, you love that.
Yeah, I'm like,
too.
no more.
I think that's why, like, when I played, I can't remember what game I played. It was a first-person shooter game, and I'm like, oh man, F this. I keep dying. Health, I don't have any. And then I started playing Destiny, and I'm like, oh, my health comes back? When did this become a thing? I love it.
Right.
So yeah.
So I'm wondering, but I think there's a large demographic of people who
Miss the
find
challenge.
that as being too easy, right?
Right.
Because I have a bunch of buddies that like they played Turok a lot, and like it was really cool when you could like beat that game. It's hard.
Yeah, and I think that. And I think there are people that legitimately like, I mean, especially a lot of the like other gaming podcasts I listen to, I'm shocked at how often people will say, oh, I beat that on normal. I can't wait to go replay it on hard, which to me is the last thing on earth I'd ever want to do.
See, I've never said that
in my life.
I have buddies that they play through Halo on every difficulty in ascending order, and like I've never been interested to do that. If I'm going to play, if I want a challenge, I'm just going to play on hard the first time.
Right? Yeah.
But it's like you get to go back through with different weapons now, and
that's the difference between like, and I'm kind of intrigued by kind of the new concept of New Game Plus, which is coming out now. It's I don't know if it's new, but I've only been hearing about it recently in the last couple months. So like Dishonored 2 has, I think it's released now, a new Game Plus. So you can play that game through as two different characters. There's a female character and a male character. And so if you play it all the way through with the female character, you can play through it again. Maybe as her again, but presumably with the other guy, but have all of your skills unlocked, all the skills you've unlocked.
Right.
And
yeah,
so,
and that's kind of a thing that they've been doing.
And so like New Game Plus
introduced, you've got to play through too. You played the same story, but you got to keep all your weapons, your levels, so you're more powerful.
And so like that idea kind of intrigues me, but going from like, hey, I played it on normal to, hey, I'm going to start completely over and play it on hard. Yeah. Like just that has no interest in me at all.
That has a place in RPGs, right? Yeah. Because you have a progression, a character that could essentially start a game being a stronger character and play through again, but a shooter that you have none of that, like Halo or something, you're literally just fighting more aliens the second time.
Well, I can totally understand it too. Of like I've always wanted to play Skyrim again, and I know I won't. Like I talk about playing Skyrim, and I'll never do it because this is
too much.
Well, it's 150 hours that I could put towards 30 other games, but I talk about doing it, and it's because I played as a barbarian the first time, and I think it would be really fun. Like my brother plays that game as a super stealth character, and it's awesome. Like I watch him play, and like he's literally so stealthy that he's like dancing around in front of the bad guys, and they just can't see him because he's so stealthy. And like it'd be really fun to play it as that, or play as a magic character. And so like I understand people that want to do that again, but just replaying a game so it can be harder the second time just has no appeal to me whatsoever.
Yeah. I guess my last question in this little train of thought is, now that regenerating health made games too easy, is like a game like Bloodborne a response to that? I think so. Is it just like echoing back to old games that were just hard for the sake of being hard?
I think that's also why you're seeing so many roguelike games where people like the idea of every single time I play it, I start completely from scratch, and they're really, really, really difficult, and death is permanent, which is another thing that like roguelikes rarely appeal to me either. I just don't, it's not my thing.
So have you played The Division?
No, I haven't.
See, and I don't know if it's just unique to The Division or if there's other games like it, but it's got the regenerating health. But so I want to say you've got 3 total health bars.
So each section regenerates.
Well, and it's not 1, 2, 3, third hit you're dead. It's a slow thing. But when you regenerate your health, it fills up just the first bar.
Yeah.
If you're down to that level.
I played a few games.
Come back up to that.
I played a few games like that, and I do like that because I think it's a healthy. It does leave a little bit more challenge there because you
adds some urgency to it.
I like
but it
having to
feel
find
like
a health pack.
Yeah,
because it creates more intensity. Or a game like Doom where you do have health, but you can get health from any enemy that you fight by.
See, I adored that mechanic.
I love that mechanic because it says. You can go heal yourself.
Well, and frankly, it makes I'm not
hiding in a corner to do it.
It makes a little bit, I guess, maybe a little bit more sense than, we live in a world where I know where exactly one health pack is in this building, and it's mostly just Band-Aids. It's just, that's not a thing. And so I don't want to say that it takes you out of a game because it really doesn't. It's such a trope that
because there's no way to actually be realistic in that sense because hiding in a corner unless you're hiding there for a year with a doctor nothing's gonna help you. That's not gonna make you better. It's gonna make you worse, right? Because you're bleeding out,
right? So and this is a total aside from this discussion, but it came up last week and I'm absolutely fascinated by this. So are you guys familiar with the game Prison Architect?
I've heard of it. I downloaded a trial
really
or something.
Fun.
I really wanted to try.
You literally are making a prison.
Okay.
But
sounds like something I've just got to play.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. So, but if someone gets hurt, an ambulance shows up with the very stereotypical red plus sign cross on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And these guys got a cease and desist from, I don't know, the
Red Cross.
Yeah, the American Red Cross. Like, hey, that's just not something you can stick on things.
Yeah.
It's a trademark that we own. You're not allowed to say. And the developers were kind of put out about it. They're like, well, but everyone does it. And I get that, but that doesn't really make it right. But I thought it was absolutely fascinating that every single game you've seen where health was done by a red, and it's not even a cross because it's a red plus sign. Really, that's illegal. It was not just hey, we own the trademark. It was under the Geneva Conventions.
Yeah, it was legit serious. They were all like,
that's
you need
weird,
to do
right?
that.
Because that's a mathematical symbol.
Yeah, but it's specifically a red one.
That's dumb.
But the reason it is, though, is because
real dumb.
But the reason it is because it's under the Geneva Conventions, and so it says that a enemy combatant can't attack one of those, and so it's seriously put into real military law. And so they own that symbol for the purpose of, war. But it's very interesting. And the developers well, this is really arbitrarily enforced. And they're like, well, we do it when we can do it. So I thought that was really interesting.
I guess
from
that's why we see a lot of green health packs with white crosses on them.
I was going to say.
Or why every single weed store in all of Seattle is a green cross. I got to assume.
Oh, that makes sense.
No, I don't think it does, but
not really.
I think they chose green because
it's green,
the right color to choose in that situation. Yeah. They wouldn't put a red one on it.
No. Anyway, should we wrap this sucker up?
Yeah.
Perfect. You should follow us on social medias. We're
cool.
Byte Me Podcast, Twitter, Facebook. Not yet on YouTube because we only have 21 followers. Or 22 followers
on YouTube.
On YouTube, we need 100. So
we're getting there. I'm pimping us out.
Yes.
Man.
So if you like us, please go like us on YouTube. It'll make me really happy. We upload tons of videos there, and
you upload tons of videos.
I upload tons of video there.
I've only got one.
It's odd that the only one here who's a video producer doesn't upload videos, but hey, it's all good.
I don't play on a PC, and I don't have a video capture card.
You can capture on your PS4.
You can.
Yeah,
he stares blankly.
I'm sure the PS4 automatically records last 15 minutes of gameplay on anything you're doing unless you turn it off. And then you can go in and edit it.
Again, I've not sank a lot of time into my PS4 yet, and I don't have many games.
Yeah.
So
I did.
But now that I know that,
yeah, you can. I did buy a video capture card too for. I got one for Christmas actually, and it's amazing.
How does that work?
So an HDMI cable goes from your console or your PC into the video capture card, and then it passes through to your monitor, and then there's a USB 2 connection that goes from the video capture thingy to a second computer. And so I play my Xbox. I have my laptop hooked up to it. And then and then there's just a pass-through, and it takes that signal and ports it out to your laptop and saves it as an AVI file.
Okay.
Which is cool because the only way I've been able to capture Xbox up until now was to stream to Twitch. Because you can only capture, I think, 5 minutes at a time on the Xbox, which is lame.
Right.
So I'd stream to Twitch, and then I'd download the Twitch streams, but they're only at 720p, and they're often kind of crackly and crappy looking. And with this, I can capture full 1080 at 60 frames a second.
Well,
so
aren't you fancy?
it's really cool, actually. Toby...
I'm terrible at games, so I'm not going to record it.
Well, that's the nice thing. Is then you can,
for you to watch me play.
then I can edit it after the fact. Actually, go watch...
If you can edit me into being good,
I'm
I
like
will say
Photoshop
everything.
it.
Literally, go watch
Look how good I am.
my Rise and Shine level 4 footage, because you can see how bad I am. It's real funny.
Gotcha.
But, we've got YouTubes. We've got a website. Go to bytemepodcast.com, and it links out to all those things, and you can follow us and make Cliff very happy because, like I said, every time we get a follower, like, I high-five the next closest person.
Yeah.
So
And share with us your hard game experiences.
Yes.
And if you just think we're softies.
Wimps. Yeah, I may be.
Yeah,
I'd be curious what other people have to think.
Just, don't call us that explicitly.
No,
but
it's fine.
You can
What?
think it. Or no, just call us out. Yeah.
Softies?
Yeah,
Or just call us a bunch of
I'm curious
softies.
what other people think because I think it's people have a very different opinion on that.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to hear. What
I know I do
people
have a
think about it.
couple friends who are really into just brutally hard games. Like
Yeah.
they wanted to play Ninja Gaiden on the hardest difficulty and did finish it.
Not me.
But I'm like, I couldn't beat the first boss.
Yeah.
And after I did, the couple horsies that you fight afterwards just slaughtered me, and I never
Yeah.
got past that. Which is weird because they were just grunts.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm bad, so I'm okay with that.